Hey folks, Serdar here. In a previous video, I talked about things you need to know before considering getting into video game development. Now, in this video, I'll talk about the things that you need to do. First off, if you're already learning about programming now in any capacity, that's a great place to start. But if you're not, get started somewhere. See, no matter what field you apply programming knowledge in, the basics are going to remain highly consistent across the board. How programming logic works, how code organization and maintenance works, how build on third-party libraries to save you effort, how to look things up and ask for help, those kinds of things. Those lay the foundation for how to prosper with any kind of programming, games included. And they're much more important than knowing any one language or framework. So get started learning if you haven't, and focus your learning on building out those skills because they pay dividends over time. Second, start small and work your way up. Too many people dive into game development because they want to make their dream game. They've designed something on paper or in their heads, and they want to make it a reality. And while ambitions are great to have, unrealistic ambitions aren't. Many beginning game developers don't appreciate how even relatively simple-looking games require a team of developers, or one person working for years on end. Case in point, Stardew Valley. This indie hit was the work of a solo developer, and it took years to bring to fruition. It's best to start with simple games. Clones of 2D arcade classics, for instance, are always a good place to begin. You'd be surprised how complex even a simple game can be. And that should also give you some appreciation of the workflow and the tool set needed, as well as the complexity of the job. Anything involving, say, multiple players or networked play or a client-server setup, those should be considered advanced exercises. Next, make the kinds of games you would want to play yourself. Many non-game programs get written because someone wanted to fix a problem they had, and they found out their solution could help lots of other people with the same problem. Games are the same way. If you find yourself saying, I wish there was a game where this happened, number one, that's a good hint other people may be thinking the same thing. And number two, that's a good hint about what you'll be able to devote yourself wholeheartedly to trying to make. And other people may well feel the same way. Next, don't confine yourself to any one language or technology. If you have a favorite language or platform and you want to create your games there, go for it. But if you look elsewhere and you see more sophisticated tooling that looks like a better fit for what you're trying to do, take the time to see if you can make use of that tooling. For instance, you can create relatively simple 2D games in the Python language using frameworks like Pygame or Arcade. They're free to use and they generally don't cost any licensing fees. But those frameworks are pretty bare bones compared to the all-in-one tooling for things like Godot or Unity or Unreal Engine. They're more complex to use, and they require you to learn new skills and possibly new languages, and you may end up also spending money on them. But if they're the better way to achieve what you want to do, you should dive in and start swimming to see what the water's like there. Next, don't waste effort on creating anti-cheating or copy protection measures when you're first starting out. Put that effort towards actually making your game and making it enjoyable. The first games you make for distribution aren't going to make enough of a splash for anti-piracy or anti-cheating measures to be worth it. That's just the odds. If you want control over how your app is deployed in the long run, you can distribute your work on Steam, which also makes it easier to market your work to a proper audience. And as far as anti-cheat measures go, unless literally millions of dollars in revenue is on the line, it's not worth it. That's something you only worry about when you're big enough to hire someone else to deal with that problem. Finally, know your real goals. Do you want to have fun or do you want to make money? It's a lot easier to make games for enjoyment than it is for profit. And plus, games are like any other entertainment. They can blow up and become a big thing for any number of reasons, not always because of how much work goes into them or how aggressively they're promoted. That said, few games become successful because they aren't fun to play. Indie release Among Us became a big hit because it gave people something fun to do together that was quirky and distinct. So if you're having fun making a game, and that fun is contagious enough to reach your audience, you'll know about it in short order. So that's it for this episode. If you liked it, leave a comment below, and don't forget to follow Dev with Serdar and InfoWorld on Facebook, YouTube, and Infoworld.com.